Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, and that's how you invalidate your service agreement. How to get a replacement computer. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. And that's how you invalidate your service agreement. It's time for another tale from the petrol payment processing server industry. You can read my prior story, The Screams from the Server Closet, here. It's late on a Saturday, and I'm trying to wind down into the last half hour of my shift, when I get it, the call you don't want to get when you're trying to get out of the door. Call comes in, and not only does the site not really know how to explain what they did clearly, ESL caller, they don't know why they did it. All I can really get out of them is that after a power outage they can't run any cards. After some back and forth getting their service ID, verifying what equipment of ours is on their site, and what contracts we have with them, I start probing to see where it hurts. That's when I get the full story. The site came back up from the power outage, and their POS and Commander server were back up and running, but they couldn't do any financial transactions. Do they call us? No. Do they submit an online support request? Nope. What did they do? They unplugged every Ethernet cable out of the router and jammed them back in at random, without noting what was where and where they put them. I look out at the setting sun from the office window and realize it may be a while before I get home to eat dinner. First thing I do is shoot a message to one of my T3 specialists, because part of our SOP is to run situations like this by them. The reply to my team's message is, in verbatim, ha 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 ha. And then my T3 sends me a snippet of the KB on things that invalidate your service contract, with unguided attempts at self-repair highlighted. I let the site know that we won't be able to dispatch for this one, and that they, in nicer words, kid up. They don't fight me, but I'm just talking to a cashier, and they usually leave the snarling for their management. I do want to get this resolved, but I can't see what's plugged into where because I'm hundreds of miles from them, and we can't connect to the site because the WAN 1 port has some other random Ethernet cable jammed into it. So I call their managed network service provider to see if they can see. Well, anything. I tell the router tech guy what happened, and his immediate response is ha 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 ha, oh wow. We end up walking the site through tracing cables together, and trying to get the router talking to their ISP so we can log in and see anything, but the site is just so clueless about anything to do with tech, and there are some blatant language issues that are making it harder. Router tech ends up escalating to the site's parent company XYZ Petrol, to get them to dispatch an on-site tech, which they'll likely be fined for, and until that's resolved, we can't do anything for them because Ethernet goes in any port, right? Anyways, the site learned a very expensive and painful lesson today, and won't be able to do literally anything but cash transactions for maybe days. With that, I promptly fled the building before my luck got any worse. How to get a replacement computer. At my old job, one of the departments had a manager, let's name him Bob. At some point, the oldest computers were going to be replaced. With me being the one at the office that got called for anything computer related, I was tasked with finding the oldest computers, list where they were, and one by one replace them. In case you are wondering, there were no lists at all of what systems were where in the office at that point. Whilst checking each desk, I reached Bob. Bob looked at me and asked me what I was doing. I explained I was trying to find the old computers to have them replaced. His face lit up, his system was pretty old. He was almost cheerful. Finally, this piece of junk gets replaced. Before I can say anything else, he disconnected the power cables, grabbed the computer, and shoved it out the window. Computer, keyboard, monitor, mouse, everything. The internet cable tried to stop it for a moment, but then gave up. With a loud bang, everything fell down to the tarmac of floor below. He then looked at me and said, "You can start immediately here with placing the new computers." I was quite stunned. My reply, I can't. I was just checking where the replacements needed to go. The new systems don't come in for a few days. Now Bob is stunned. Why didn't you tell me? Me, I didn't really get a chance. Bob looks out the window. Then get me a replacement anyway, so I can continue working. Me shakes head and just walks away, leaving an angry Bob behind, and trying to figure out how to explain this mess to my boss. Bob decided to complain to my boss about not having a computer to work on. Boss luckily didn't care, and after getting all stories and checking the wreckage herself, she informed Bob that, not only had he willingly destroyed his old system, his system was not even supposed to be replaced. It was one of the computers the company had hired. Bob had to wait for 3 days before receiving a new rental computer, similar to what he had before. He also had to pay quite a lot of money for the wrecked rental computer. Company insurance didn't cover it. But he did have a sense of humor, as he claimed he now paid for the old system, and that it was his own now. Parts of the old computer, such as the motherboard, were nailed to the wall in his office up to the day he retired. He used a railspike-sized nail to keep it on the wall.